G'day everyone and welcome again to the chat. It's coming up to the Magic Millions and today we've got someone very exciting joining us. One of the owners of Isotope. Isotope is a strong contender for the Magic Millions 3-year-old Guineas coming up in January. And joining me today is Charles Inglis, one of Isotope's owners. G'day Charles, how are you?
Hey man, yeah, I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
What an amazing horse you've got a small share in at the moment. Isotope, it's amazing records so far and leading into the Magic Millions 3-year-old Guineas, it's a pretty strong chance.
Yeah, she's trying not to count our chickens too much before they hatch, but yeah, she's been superb the last few runs, and we're as a ownership group, we're pretty excited.
How was about that last start? I thought Away Game was going to win, and then Isotope flew home. It was amazing.
Yeah, she did it. She definitely did it the hard way. And yeah, it was a phenomenal finish. A pretty good feeling when she kind of just made up the ground. I have to admit, I didn't think she was going to get anywhere near it, and then yeah, she ran through the line pretty strongly.
I was looking through the ownership. There's quite a few of you who have your own shares, but there's a couple of syndicates as well. How did you come to have a share in Isotope yourself? Yeah,
so essentially, I jumped on the bandwagon, for want of a better word, Ben. But my boss and a few others from work, his dad is based up in Queensland. He sort of keeps a pretty close eye on all the sales and things like that over there. So he's the one who found her, and then myself and a couple others from work jumped on a little bit later on after her first trial. We saw she had plenty of ability, and we I can't claim to have any real part in finding her, that's for sure. So yeah, pretty stoked to just at least be a small part of it.
You talk about work. What do you do for work? I'm interested to hear about that. What's life like away from racing for Charles Inglis?
Yeah, so I work at Sportsbet, obviously in Melbourne there, and I'm not working in the not in the trading space at all. I work as a product manager, so working with some of our tech teams there to sort of look into what features we should build for the app and hopefully put them in customers' hands. But yeah, I've been there now for just over 2.5 years, so I would say I'm quite sort of connected to the industry in that sense, I guess, as well.
It must be pretty cool then. I mean, the app's not too bad. I've used it a couple of times myself, but your marketing guys at Sportsbet, they're very clever, some of the stuff they do.
Yeah, they do a great job for us. That's for sure. Yeah, no, some of them, it's phenomenal, like how well they manage to kind of come up with new ideas constantly, because it's certainly not an easy thing to do. So yeah, no, great team to work with.
Where did your love of racing first come from, or first start, Charles?
Yeah, it's a great question. Certainly wasn't sort of bred into me and handed down through generations. My parents didn't know anything about horse racing up until a few years ago when my eldest sister married a guy called James Jordan, who's he's sort of, I guess, his whole professional career, he's worked in the racing industry, and he sort of, I don't know, I think racing, you tend to hear stories like that, and I'm definitely one of those where you kind of catch the bug through just being introduced to it, and the more you kind of fall into it, the more you fall in love with the great game. My other brother-in-law as well has owned a few horses, so he's certainly strengthened my kind of passion for the sport.
And obviously, being connected to James Jordan, sure he'd sling you a couple of tips, because he's a very astute judge when it comes to the essay form. He's awesome.
He does, but not before he's already got the price.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's good like that. He looks after us, James.
Have you had much to do with the trainers so far? Tony Golan, he's one of the leading trainers in Queensland.
Yeah, so obviously being down in Melbourne, where I've been unable to get to the races up there in Queensland this year. Certainly would have got there already if not for COVID. But I have to say, it's amazing having it's my first horse, so I can't really compare it to anything. But it is amazing having a horse with Tony, because his communication is just like second to none, and the analysis, sort of where she's going to sit in the field, where all the other horses are going to be in terms of the speed map and in the run, is phenomenal. Like it gives you a really great picture, and especially if someone kind of new to the game, and in that sense, it really just sort of adds to taking you along for the ride if I kind of can put it like that.
I've seen what Tony does on social media. He's very savvy with not just communication to you guys as owners, but just stable updates for just people who follow the stable as well. I see it on Twitter all the time. It's really cool what he does.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, I think nowadays it is probably a bit of a content game for the trainers to try and sort of differentiate themselves, but certainly like the brand that they've built for themselves up in Queensland, and they have runners that come down to Sydney and Melbourne from time to time as well, but pretty well respected, I'd imagine, within the industry.
And Isotope races in the colours of Black Soil Bloodstock. Did you know much about those guys before you went into the horse? Obviously, they had success with Spirit of Boom and Temple of Boom. They were two amazing horses that Golan trained in Queensland, and they even came down and won some good races in Melbourne.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I don't know a whole heap about Black Soil, but up until kind of buying into Isotope, I just follow them quite closely on Twitter and through their website a fair bit. They write a blog for each of their kind of main horses, and really stay close to it that way. But yeah, they've certainly had a little bit of success, and I think we've seen with Spirit of Boom as well as produced some pretty good 2-year-olds as well getting around. So, but I think I never really got to watch either of those two because it was kind of predates my love of racing, I guess.
Will you be making the trip up to the Gold Coast to watch Isotope go around?
Yep, at this stage, yeah, I think so. COVID pending, I think we're gonna fly up. There's been a pretty decent group of a Melbourne cohort that are going to be up there. So either way, win, lose, or indifference, it's going to be a great weekend. Hopefully, yeah, looking forward to getting up there. Hopefully on the 2nd or 3rd weekend of January, whenever it is.
You talk about Melbourne cohort, so you've got yourself. How many of the other owners in Melbourne that you know of from Melbourne?
Oh, geez, this can test me, but I think there's at least 4 others in Melbourne, maybe 5, and then obviously, yeah, Black Soil own the large portion of it, but then there's a few others floating around Australia. So there's about 5 or 6 of us potentially, even that I am kind of connected in with through work.
You can even get up earlier. One thing you guys do have to do is beat the barrier draw on the Tuesday. It's the Tuesday morning. The horses literally they gallop along the beach. You may have seen the videos of that. It is an amazing experience, and even cooler for you to be able to be there when your horse is drawn for that barrier. It's a really cool experience. It's awesome. I've not been an owner before there, but I've been there, and it's just an amazing spectacle.
So is that the Tuesday before it all kicks off?
It's the Tuesday before it actually, yeah. So it's the Tuesday of the race week, yeah. So it's really cool. The whole week is just one big party, and you're really going to enjoy it. Just to have a runner on that day, obviously. How excited are you?
Yeah, very, very pumped. It's gonna be awesome. I think like when we bought into the horse, I was just hoping she would make it to the races, and maybe get to watch her race, and maybe even they find a nice maiden for her somewhere. But to have a horse in this big a race at this time of the year, it's pretty awesome. So it's definitely not lost on me, that's for sure.
Talk about 2-year-olds. Well, have you got yourself the catalog yet? I've been having a look through. I won't be buying, but have you got any in particular, not to buy, but ones you'd be interested in? You had a look online yet, or in this?
So I'm definitely no judge. So I'll be definitely the guys, the rest of the guys that we're in it with, I sort of back in their judgment. So if any of them go back in for another little look, I think there's potentially maybe some that we're going to have a look at, but nothing sort of set in stone yet. I think it's probably one of those wait and see, I reckon.
There's a couple of Spirit of Booms in there, so you never know. Tony might with Black Soil might reinvest and get another progeny. You never know.
Yeah, that's it. It's always it'd be nice to sort of have 1 or 2 in run. It kind of when you've only got one, sometimes when they go out to spell, it can be a long wait waiting for them to get back to the races.
And James also does a fair bit of breeding too, so you sort of would touch on his advice. Has he been teaching you a bit about breeding? Have you been learning from him?
Well, obviously, yeah. They've got a place up now, up in the
Yeah.
Adelaide Hills, and he's just bred a couple of horses recently, so they've got a couple of foals up there that I went out and visited a couple of weeks back. Yeah, no, very very much keen to learn a little bit from him when I can get up there, but he's got a few that are looking pretty good. He's got one that's been in work recently called Like a Heartbeat, which I know he's very 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 happy with, and you'll know my other brother-in-law Clinton. Ironically, he's got one running in the Karaka Million.
Yeah, he
in
does.
January as well.
Yeah,
on the
awesome.
bubbles. So
through Tiako Racing, David Ellis.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
right. Really cool. That's really exciting as well. So you've got a big runner, and then Clinton from Clinton DK off Twitter. He contacted me actually because you wanted to speak to me. And how amazing is that? You've got your runner on the big day, and then he's got his runner on the New Zealand equivalent. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's it. We're pinching ourselves for sure.
All right, Charles, thanks very much for joining us today, and good luck to Isotope in the Magic Millions 3-year-old Guineas, and hopefully I'll see you up there.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, catch you up there, hopefully. Thank you.